Hello everyone, and welcome to Thoughts On, where I give my unscripted thoughts on what happens in gaming in the current fucking age. I can't speak English, but who cares? So, the Nintendo Direct just happened on September 4th, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on it. So the first thing they announced was Overwatch for Switch, which was actually, it's pretty cool that they're doing that. Like, now Overwatch is on all platforms. Not that I'm going to be buying it for the Switch, but, you know, the option being there is pretty cool. I'm going to stick to the PC version if I decide to boot up Overwatch again. But, yeah, it's pretty cool that now it's on all platforms. Next up, they talked about Luigi's Mansion 3, and this game, the more they show on it, the more excited I become. So, I was really worried when they first announced Luigi's Mansion 3, because, like, the first Luigi's Mansion game is, like, one of my favorite games of all time. If you can't fucking tell, we completed it twice on the GCN channel. The first time being, like, the normal game, and the second time, years later, we did the repainted one. But Luigi's Mansion 2 came out for the 3DS, and to put it bluntly, it's not that great. Like, it's a good game, like, it's fun, I guess, but, like, it was very disappointing. Does not have the charm of the first game. It feels very bland. Like, all of the different mansions, they just kind of blend together and don't really have anything that unique about them. But with Luigi's Mansion 3, they took all of the complaints that I had about 2 and also why I loved 1 and fucking went to fucking infinity and beyond with it. Like, for one thing, it takes place in one location again, which is really cool. Like, it has, like, a centralized setting. And the setting, being a haunted hotel, is really cool. And it because, you know, it's a really fucking tall hotel, which is really cool. Like, you know, they could have, like, the floor system like they did with the first Luigi's Mansion, where it's, like, the first area is, like, the beginning floors, the second area is, like, the first floor, the third area was the second floor, and the fourth area was, like, the roof in the basement. Like, they can do that now with all of the different levels of the hotel, and that's really clever. Also, they showed off, like, a bunch of rooms that are going to be in the game, and it seems like the game is going to be very, very diverse with what you can do with Luigi in this hotel. And I'm just really excited, man. Like, this Halloween can't come fucking fast enough. You will probably most definitely see a Let's Play of that when that comes out from me and Mike. But they also announced, like, a multiplayer mode, which seems pretty fun. It's like a party mode kind of thing. I don't really see myself playing it that much, like, unless it's necessary. Because I can just kind of see, like, the best example I can think of is, like, Sonic and the Secret Rings, where, like, you have the main game, and then there's, like, the party mode that is just, like, a completely different game within this game. But hey, I'll probably check it out, see what it has to offer. The next game they talked about is Super Kirby Clash, which kind of looks like if you combine the arena from, like, Kirby Superstar, or, like, any Kirby game for that matter, if you combine that with, like, Monster Hunter, where it's like you have 4-player co-op and you team up and fight, like, a huge boss, which I think is really cool, and it's free and it came out today. Like, that's pretty awesome. Like, that was pretty cool. I actually like that a lot. Next thing they talked about was the Trials of Mana remake, which was, you know, it's cool. Like, I'm not that super into the Mana series. The only game that I played was Secret of Mana for the old Completionist Challenge streams, and now I'm gonna have to be playing it again, but whatever. I enjoyed Secret of Mana for what it was. But Trials of Mana looks pretty cool too. Like, I don't know, it just looks like your typical action RPG, but I don't know, I'll see where it goes. Return of Obra Dinn was the next game that they talked about, and this game actually seems pretty interesting. It's like a mystery game that involves, like, not actually time travel, but, like, kind of time travel, where you're, like, able to see what happened in the past using, like, this death clock reverse thing. I don't know, it seems like artistic as fuck. It seems interesting. I might give it a look when it comes out, or might not. I might forget about it tomorrow. The next thing they talk about was Little Town Hero, which is the new IP from Game Freak that they neglected Pokemon to make. Sorry if I sound a little salty, just wait until I get to Pokemon. So, Little Town Hero is just an RPG, and it doesn't, I don't know, it seems okay. It just seems like your average RPG. And they're like, you fight them with thoughts, and you can move around the map, and it's like, alright, it's just an RPG where you can, like, move around a map. It's not that interesting. It doesn't seem that cool. The art style seems very generic, like, RPG. Like, it's not that interesting. I'm sorry. It doesn't look that cool. The only cool thing about it is that Toby Fox composed the game, but, like, okay, cool. Like, I love Toby Fox, but him composing the music for this game doesn't make it more interesting automatically. The next thing they talked about was Banjo-Kazooie's release date, which was the day of the Direct. He's out right now, which is really cool. And then they say that afterwards that they're going to have like a video demonstrating how Banjo works, which is also really cool. But yeah, Banjo-Kazooie Smash release, I kind of called it, like, not publicly, but like to myself, I guess, that he was going to come out the day of the Direct. So that's awesome. And then we got our fourth character in the Fighter's Pass, which is Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, which everyone already kind of knew about because Nintendo accidentally leaked that the fourth character is from SNK, which, like, you can only have so many fighters from SNK. And people thought it was Terry Bogard. I was kind of hoping that it was going to be Mai from King of Fighters. But Terry Bogard works too. Like, he looks like he belongs along with, like, Ryu and Ken and what have you. And then they also announced that, like, just because the Fighter's Pass is 5 characters doesn't mean that means that those are the only fighters that are going to be added into Smash Brothers, which is really cool. It really gives me some hope that, like, characters that I want to be in Smash will get in there. Please, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Travis Touchdown. Like, yeah. It just gives me more hope that, like, oh, cool. Maybe some characters I like will be in there. Maybe another Punch-Out rep, even though I have no idea who you'd pick, other than maybe, like, Bald Bull or something, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be strange. But I'm sure, you know, they fucking put in the Piranha Plant, so literally anything's possible. So, that's cool that it's not just gonna be 5 DLC fighters, and they're just not just gonna be like, alright, we're done, you know. Like, they're gonna come out with more, maybe like a second Fighter's Pass or something like that. I don't know. But moving on, the next thing they talked about was the remake of Link's Awakening, which I'm falling in love with more and more every time it comes on screen, and I can't wait that it comes out literally later this month. I am definitely picking it up and having tons of fun with it, because honestly, Link's Awakening is like one of the best Zelda games ever made. Next up, they talked about oh god, this fucking name is a fucking mouthful. It's Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. That is a long-ass title for a game that looks amazing, that I've been recommended countless times, and honestly, it makes me want, like, just watching this trailer makes me want to, like, not just experience Dragon Quest XI, but experience all of Dragon Quest. Like, I've been so curious as to, like, Dragon Quest and what it's about, and how, like, you know, I know that it's, like, amazingly popular in Japan. Like, it's, like, one of the biggest games in Japan, like, biggest franchises ever. And I kind of want to see what it's about. Like, I'm not a huge fan of JRPG, but I'll definitely play Dragon Quest. Like, fuck it. The next thing that they showed off was something that was a little bit of a strange crossover, in my opinion. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore, where they're going to have a crossover of Shin Megami Tensei characters and Fire Emblem characters, which, like, is very strange to me, but it seems like an interesting thing where it's like, you go into this virtual world and you, like, want to become, like, an idol or a singer, essentially, and some of those characters are, like, Chrom or some other... I'm not that well-versed into Fire Emblem, but, like, I don't know. It's a strange idea that I can see working. Next up is something that took me entirely by surprise, and I don't know if it's, like, if this is news, or if, like, this was announced, like, years ago and I just never knew about it. Deadly Premonitions 2, A Blessing in Disguise. So, the only thing that I've ever seen when it comes to Deadly Premonition is the Game Grumps playthrough of it. Which, when they were playing that game, it looked, just to put it bluntly, laughably bad. Like, it just didn't seem like a good game, but it seemed like a good game in the sense of, like, it was, like, it's like Sonic 06, where it's, like, so bad that it's hilarious. And, you know, people joke about it. So to see that they're making a sequel for the Nintendo Switch, that took me by surprise. Like, I didn't even think there was, like, a demand for a Deadly Premonitions 2. I don't know. I could just be, like, uneducated. I've been corrected on shit before when it comes to, like, these thoughts on videos. But, hey, that's why I started by saying that it's unscripted. Because, you know, it's not like I'm putting a ton of research into this like it would be for, like, a controller input episode. But, you know, for this, you know, I just want to give my thoughts. So the next is Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, which, I don't really have much thoughts here nor there. Like, it didn't really interest me in the slightest, so probably won't be picking that up. The next thing is they announced that Doom 64 is going to be put on the Switch eShop, for Doom's, I think they said 30th anniversary? So that's really cool, because Doom 64 is fucking amazing. Like, I remember playing it all the time on my Nintendo 64. Like, I fucking love Doom, especially Doom 64. So it's really cool that they're finally porting it onto, like, an HD system. The next game they talked about was Rogue Company, which, I'm not gonna lie, at this point of the Direct, like, they were announcing so many, like, so much stuff that I really didn't care about. Like, since, like, the Smash stuff, and maybe, like, Link's Awakening, that I kind of tuned out when it came to Rogue Company. It just seemed like a whatever game, you know? I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I kind of, like, barely paid attention when it came to this one. Next up, get ready for a fucking rant. They talked about Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, here's the thing. The stuff that's been coming out about Pokemon Sword and Shield has me very, very upset. Like, how, you know, Dynamaxing and Gigamaxing, or whatever it's called, is essentially just a glorified version of Mega Evolution. How, you know, Game Freak decided to use their B team to make Pokemon rather than their A team, which was too busy making Little Town Hero. Which, like, you know, not that I'm, like, bashing, like, what a B team can do, but typically a B team is used for games that, like, aren't as important, and I feel like Pokemon shouldn't be that. You know, sometimes you can get some good shit out of it. Like, fun fact, Lion King at Disney was the B team project, where Pocahontas was the A team project. Which, you know how those movies did comparatively. Lion King is one of, like, the most, like, critically acclaimed Disney movies of all time, and animated movies of all time, honestly. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm angry because I'm being like, oh, it's the B team, they're obviously worse at making games than the A team. I don't think that's true. I still think that Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be a better game than Little Town Hero. But the problem is that the B team is the team that is used for games that they don't really care as much about. Which makes me mad that they would do that to Pokemon. And then the other thing that makes me the most mad about Pokemon Sword and Shield is that they don't have every Pokemon in the game, which I think is ridiculous. I think that's so stupid of them, especially after what they announced today, which makes me even madder that they decided to allocate space that they claimed that they didn't have to put every Pokemon plus the new ones into the Galar region, but instead they allocated that space to Pokemon Camp, which looks boring as shit and I'm sure no one will use, and also allocated that space to being able to make curry with your Pokemon to the point where there's a curry dex. That's so stupid. You sacrifice the national Pokédex, the thing that everyone wants, to have a book of curry recipes. I don't understand it. Why? What? Like, I was watching the trailers for this game, and I was wondering what game I was watching, because it certainly didn't look like Pokemon, where I get to cook curry. It baffles me. Who looked at Pokemon and was like, you know what, this game's great, but I should cook curry. I should be able to cook curry with my Pokemon. That should be something I'm able to do. What the hell, man? I don't understand. Why? It just baffles me to no end. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing, Game Freak? I need to move on before I start A, repeating myself, and B, giving myself an aneurysm. So the next thing they announced is that as a part of the online service, and as like a kind of thank you to so many people signing up for the online service, even though a lot of people were mad about Nintendo having a paid online service instead of a free one, they're giving us, in addition to the NES online library, now we have an SNES online library, which also has a controller that is meant for online members only. So that's really cool that that's like a thing that's happening. It's like a USB SNES controller. I haven't really looked at what the library of games are for the SNES online. I'm actually gonna look it up right now. Just because I'm curious. So it seems like what games we have are Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Pilot Wings, Demon's Crest, Brawl Brothers, Super Mario World 2, Star Fox, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Soccer, Super EDF Earth Defense Force, Super Mario Kart, F-Zero, Kirby's Dream Course, Super Puyo Puyo 2, Super Tennis, The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Stunt Racer FX, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Breath of Fire, and Joe and Mac 2. Which I feel like is a good starting roster. There's a couple games in there that I'm kind of disappointed aren't there, two of which being my two favorite Super Nintendo games of all time, Earthbound and Super Punch-Out. But, you know, I have confidence that they're going to add to this list. I'm surprised that, what was it? It's not here. Super Mario RPG or Mega Man X. Like, I'm surprised that those aren't there. But hopefully they'll add to the list and have a bunch of really cool SNES games out in the future. Next up, they announced a free update for Tetris 99, which is a game that I still want to play, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. To where they have a new mode that can only be accessed if you're, like, good enough at the game, which is really cool. Like, I really like that. Not really much to say about it, though, so I'm just going to move on to the next game they talked about. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Now, I'm not going to lie, and I might change this in the near future. after the first Mario and Sonic of the Olympic Games, I really just wasn't interested in the series because it just seemed like, you know, a sports game that had Mario and Sonic in it, which was cool when it was the first one, but the first one really disappointed me because I was kind of hoping that there would just be more than just some sports mini games. But what is convincing me to buy this game is that it seems like this game has a fleshed out story mode that has Mario, that includes Mario, Sonic, Bowser, Eggman, and all the characters, which I feel like is something that was, like, I know that there's been story modes in future Mario and Sonic Olympic games, but this one looks like there's, like, real cutscenes. You know, it's not just, like, text boxes and moving around a board or whatever, which I think was what they did in Winter Olympics, and I'm not sure about, like, future titles, because after, like, Winter Olympics, I have no idea what these games have been like. But this game looks really cool, especially, like, the classic mode, and I was looking really hard, too. I hate that, you know, they show the classic mode, but they only show Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach, and Bowser. And the reason I say this with those, that I hate that they only showed those characters specifically, is because I'm really interested to see what the other characters will look like in that style, like Shadow and Silver and Vector, Wario, Waluigi, you know, what these characters will look like in their classic styles. Hopefully they will be in the classic styles and they won't like bar characters from you just because it's the different game mode. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this one, and I might pick it up. Next up, they announced the next demo for Daemon Ex Machina, which looks, again, like a really cool mech shooter game. It reminds me a lot of when I played, like, I forgot what Gundam game it was, but it was some Gundam game on, like, I think PlayStation 3 that I played, like, once or twice. It looks really cool. Like, I'm still, like, really down to play it. The next game is a game that is clearly a remake, and I have no idea why they're remaking it. Like, I don't know. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a lot about Star Wars. I really haven't even seen, like, a single movie of Star Wars, let alone played any of the games. So I don't know how, like, good or popular Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is. But, like, you know, it's kind of weird that there's, like, there's no outcry to have this game remade, so it's just weird that they did. Then they showed Witcher 3 Complete Edition, which is just Witcher 3 on Switch, whatever. Assassin's Creed Rebel Edition, which is just a collection of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Rogue. Again, it's just remakes. Then apparently they're putting an action RPG called Dauntless on the Switch, which I didn't even know existed before this Switch, like this Nintendo Direct. It looks fine. It looks like a typical action RPG. I'm not that really excited over it. Then they had like a kind of like a slideshow of games that they do at every Direct. I'm not really going to talk about every single game that they showed off because it was just like either stuff that we saw at E3 or like stuff that doesn't really matter. Then they had like a whole thing about Animal Crossing New Horizons, which, like, personally to me, this is where I once again checked out because I'm not really big into Animal Crossing. I never got into the GameCube game, any of the DS games, the Wii game. I'm not an Animal Crossing kind of person, so, like, having this be like it literally lasts for like what feels like 5 or 6 minutes of the Direct, and I don't know, it just crawled to me. It was really boring. I kind of wish they didn't spend so much time on it. Like, I know that Animal Crossing New Horizons is like a really hyped up game and people are really excited about it because it's like the first new Animal Crossing game in like years, but like, I don't know. I don't really care about it. It looks like a chill game, but like that's it. And then the last official game that they showed in the Nintendo Direct was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which is cool, kind of. I feel like, you know, usually at the end of these conferences or the end of these directs, they have like a special surprise at the end, like a little twist of the knife to make you just that much more excited. Like they did it with the first Smash Ultimate trailer. They did it with Banjo and Kazooie at the E3 Direct. You know, they always have like that slight twist where they get you with one last really cool thing. And I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was just kind of a really disappointing ending to the Nintendo Direct. So just because the Direct's over doesn't mean that announcements weren't over, because right after the Nintendo Direct, they had a video of Masahiro Sakurai, or as they call him, Mr. Sakurai, showing off what Banjo-Kazooie can do, like what their moves are, because we haven't really seen much, and how they derive from the game, how they can be used. I think it's really interesting that his side special is something that can run out, but to balance that out, they made it so that his up special can make him jump 3 times. I think that's really cool. I really want to try out Banjo literally like after I'm done making this video. And then they announced some new Mii Fighter costumes right after the presentation. Now the funny thing is that, like, you know, I watched the Nintendo Direct on my way to my friend's house. We were gonna shoot something for his channel. Check out AN Productions. It'll be up there, and just watch his content. It's really cool. But anyway, so when it got to the part where Sakurai showed off Banjo and Kazooie, you know, I watched like half of it, but I was like, okay, they're just showing off Banjo and Kazooie, so I could just get out of the car and go do what I have to do now. And then I heard that there were more announcements after that, so I literally haven't seen this part until today. You know, obviously I heard what it was directly after it happened because there was a big thing in it, which I will get to soon. But, like, I haven't seen the actual announcements until literally right before making this video. So, the new Mii Fighter costumes that they came out with are Goemon from, I forget what it was called. It was like Mystical Fighters or something like that. I think I remember playing the game like once and for like Super Nintendo or something like that. I don't know. But, really obscure, which is really cool. They also have a costume for Proto Man and Zero, which is really cool, but also kind of dashes my hopes for having Zero or Proto Man in Smash. But whatever, it's still cool to see the costumes. Next up, they had Team Rocket, which I thought was really cool. It's like the original Team Rocket designs from Pokemon Red, which is pretty nice for like a Mii Fighter. Like, I think that's cool. And then the last one, which is the one that everyone's talking about, is they made a costume for the Mii Gunner that is Sans from Undertale, which I really love because it really just looks like you're playing as Sans. It comes with Megalovania as a music track, which is really cool. But also, it really just kind of begs the question, if they went through the trouble of making Sans a costume, making it look like you're playing as Sans, not that just that, you know, it's like a Mii in a Sans costume, giving him the Gaster Blaster as the gun, and adding in Megalovania, it really just begs the question of why didn't they just put Sans in Smash? That's kind of my, like, you know, apparently Sakurai and Toby Fox are really good friends now that they literally hung out and played Smash together. But, like, it just confuses me of why they didn't just put him in Smash. It's weird. I don't really see the reason of why not, especially since they put in so much effort to make it look like Sans. And the last thing that they talked about that's like new stuff coming out is they're coming out with new amiibos. one for Squirtle, one for Ivysaur, and a really cool one that's of Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And then just the rest of the video was Sakurai talking about how, you know, because they're coming out with a lot more DLC fighters than just the initial 5 in the Fighters Pass, that, like, you know, this game is really big. You know, there's so many game worlds coming in and clashing. He's questioning, like, you know, if we do another Smash game, it can't be this big anymore. Like, so I really like when he had the attitude of, like, you know, if I were to make another Smash game, there's no way it could be this big. So his mentality is that he wants to improve upon the record he's already set in Smash Ultimate, which I think is a really good attitude to have, because, like, I feel like Smash Ultimate is such a good Smash Brothers game on a technical level, and, like, how the game works physics-wise. Like, it's incredibly balanced. You know, it's not like Brawl or even Smash 4, which had its ups and downs. Like, Smash Ultimate is for the competitive Smash player, which is really fucking cool. And I love that this was the game that they decided to put every Smash character in, plus more. And I would honestly be okay with Smash Ultimate being the last Super Smash Bros. Game made. Or at the very least, if, you know, obviously Nintendo is going to move on and make new systems and yada yada yada. If, for the future Nintendo systems, if they just ported over Smash Ultimate and then just kept adding on to that. Which I think would be a really cool idea, is just to keep adding onto this game until, I don't know, fucking Sakurai dies or something. So that was the Nintendo Direct. That happened on September 4th. Everything that was important in it, my thoughts on it, my 2 cents. Tell me what you guys think of everything that happened in Nintendo Direct. Put that shit in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think. What you guys think of what I think. And I guess that's it. If you like the video, like it, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Hit that bell notification if you want to see more thoughts on video or any of the Let's Plays that we come out with 10 times a week. Or anything else that we may be working on. I'm Bottles. I'll see you next time.